So I also just seen a video now that I've so I also just seen a video where someone is now that I've addressed in my previous short what Austin Garten's restaurant came from. As some of you guys please. So I also just seen a video where someone is driving from the center of the town we live in to our house, driving past our house, pointing it out. So I also just seen a video where someone is driving from the center of the town we live in to our house, driving past our house, pointing it out, and then driving further on. And they're saying, oh, it took me 4 minutes to get from town to your house. Which, already them driving out to our house and posting videos online is crazy. And I think it does qualify as harassment and stalking and doxing. But beyond that, they're saying that I was lying because in the past I said it took 2 hours to walk to town. I always made it clear, and my girlfriend always made it clear, we're talking about walking to town because we do not have a car here that we can use. Now, when I first said it was 2 hours into town, it was based on the fact that I had to go all the way to the hospital one time. And on Google Maps, it told me about 2 hours to get there walking. Now, to get to the beginning of town, I realized it's about an hour. So yes, it's about an hour or two into town, depending on where we're going into town, because we do not have a car. So that is our situation. We never lied and said we were 2 hours driving away from town. When I said 2 hours, I always said walking. And I hope that YouTube will do something about these people stalking us, doxing us, which means putting our address online, and harassing us every day and slandering us every day, making up stories, trying to prove that we're lying somehow. We are two humble, honest people, and we come up here to ask for help. My girlfriend just comes on her live just to live stream and talk to people and, socialize. But I go on there usually and I ask people to help us financially. And I think it's appalling how people get so worked up about somebody asking for help, even if it is every day, that they feel the need to slander us, harass us, stalk us, and try to post our information online. I hope that people will help me report these channels doing this and support us. And I hope YouTube will do something about it. God bless all of you. So I also now that I've addressed in my previous short what Austin Garten's restaurant came from and how it's not what people saying they are, please go check out that video if you want to know about it. There is another thing that I wanted to address in a video. I did talk about this on a live stream, but I wanted to make a video so more people would see it. I don't have the time. This is a preface of it. I don't have the time to go over everything that these stalkers and harassers are saying about me every day, because literally they spend hours a day slandering my name, making stuff up about me. Looking at their live stream, and in their live stream, this person saying that they remember right before my girlfriend came into the picture that I was live streaming talking about how I was talking to a married woman and how she said it was okay. And then they said that I said that I met my girlfriend at a party, and with that, those two things they said, they then said that my girlfriend was a swinger and was still married. And I met my girlfriend as a swinger, and then I promised her that I was making a bunch of money online and got her to leave her husband for me. None of that ever happened. Before I met my girlfriend, like a week before I met my girlfriend, at work, I met a different girl who was married, at the time, and she was trying to get intimate with me, and I was talking to my viewers about it and ultimately decided it was a bad idea. And I might have said that my girlfriend was partying before she came to my house, or that the people at my house were partying. But we did not meet at a party. We met at the place I was staying. My roommate brought a bunch of people home from the bar. And I don't have much time left to make a short video, but that's basically clearing it up. I can say more if you. Now that I've addressed it, as some of you guys know, there's a group of people online who spend hours each day trying to slander my name, making up stuff about me, encouraging harassment and stalking of me. And one of the latest things that this group of people has done is say that I made up a fake restaurant called Austin Garton's Restaurant to get PPP loans during COVID. And usually I just ignore all this stuff. And because this stuff has no substance to it, and I don't have the time every day to go through every lie that they say about me. But they've been really persistent with this one, and I just want to say I never have received any PPP loans or any loans from the government for any business or anything. I've never received any loans from the government, and I did not make up Austin Garton's Restaurant in order to do that. Where this Austin Gardens Restaurant comes from is actually when I was in middle school. I might have even been elementary school. I'm pretty sure it was middle school though. I don't know why, but I thought it would be cool to put this on Google, and I put my address in as a restaurant, Austin Gardens Restaurant. I don't know why. I just thought it would be cool. And it's funny because I always remember it because I think it was my seventh grade teacher. She said, we were doing this stuff to get coupons for this event we're having at the school where we give out coupons for local restaurants. And the person I was helping me was like, "Oh, what about this place, Austin Gardens Restaurant? I can't see any. I can't see their what." They either said their hours or any reviews on it or something. And then she looked at it, she's like, "Oh, that's not a real restaurant. That's one of the students in my class." And she asked me about it. So yeah, that's the real story of Austin Gardens Restaurant. I have not taken any loans from the government for any business. And, I encourage people, don't believe anything from these hate groups that constantly target me and try to make up lies about me every day and slander me. God bless you all. As some of you guys know, there's a group of people. Before I started streaming online, I was homeless, living on the street, and I would sit outside. As some of you guys know, there's a group of people. Please, I am begging you guys, please help us. I tried multiple times yesterday asking for help. Nobody has helped us. We need money for food and toilet paper. Please help us. Anybody, please. Please, I am begging you guys, please help us. I tried multiple times yesterday asking for help. Nobody has helped us. We need money for food and toilet paper. Please help us. Anybody, please. Please, I am begging you guys, please help us. I tried multiple times yesterday asking for help. Nobody has helped us. We need money for food. everybody? I have to give you guys a life update. As you can see, I'm wearing my Burger King shirt. Okay. Now, the thing was, when I was in California, I had a job at Burger King for a few months. But the thing is, I could not talk about it online because people already have stalked me so much. When I used to stay in hotels, they would track me down. I don't know how. They would find what hotel I was staying at and call over and over and cause so many problems for the phone line of that business that they would kick me out. And I didn't want to risk losing my job. I've seen other creators lose their job because of their stalkers messing with them. So I knew I couldn't even say I had a job, because even if I said I had a job, then they would be calling places in the very small town I was at. There was only a few places to work there, and they would find it, and they would have, harassed the place I was working over and over. And so whenever you would hear me say I'm doing everything I can, I was working, and I still needed help. It was still really hard to do everything I needed to do, especially whenever my beautiful girlfriend came into my life and I became her provider. Now when I was telling people this on my live streams, people were saying, "Oh no, you didn't work that long, or you only worked a week and then we're fired." I quit because I moved across the country, and I will show you, for anyone who doesn't believe me. This was 8/7/2024. 8/7/2024. This was my last check. That's why it was so much. This is the last one that they gave me when I quit. And you can see that's a year-to-date amount. So that's obviously from a few months of working. And NorCal Brands, California, that's their main place. It's this corporation who owns the Burger King. And for anyone who says, yes, my legal name is Garton, but that's not the name I go by. My birth name, the name I was born with, is Tamargo. Got it tatted on me right there. Garton is my stepfather's name, and I don't use it. Now, the thing is, we were paying $800 a month's rent. It was $1,200 the first month, and I thought it was gonna be that way forever, is what I paid her for both of us. But then it went down to $800, but it still was a lot, and we were willing to pay it. That wasn't the biggest problem. It was that it used to be my roommate and his mother. His mother came down and was staying with him for a while to try to help him get his kids back. And I'm not trying to say too much about it, but the system is messed up. He didn't get his kids that back. His mother left, and when his mother left, he started becoming a different kind of person. Like, he always respected us as the individuals we are. But after his mother left, he started throwing away stuff out of ours that we paid for, imposing rules on us and that applied to us and nobody else in the house, and just being super controlling. I even found him standing outside of our open window one day, and it's like he was being really weird, really creepy, and the things he was doing was causing us to get into arguments almost every night, because he would throw something away of ours, and then we'd be looking for it, and then we'd be arguing about it, and all of that could have been, and then he'd be getting on us about being loud and arguing, when all that wouldn't have happened if he wouldn't have thrown our stuff away, and the thing is, it was very hard, and she knew that she had a place to stay on the East Coast all the way across the country, and I'm sorry, it's just a lot, and I don't know how much I should say, but It was a very hard situation to get out of, and I spent the last of my money, my last paycheck, and any money I could get. I had to sell my PlayStation, sell a lot of things, and to get a ticket to get all the way over here, and we couldn't bring her instruments. Now, a lot of you know she has her own YouTube channel, and before we left California, we were uploading videos on her YouTube channel of songs that she's written over the years. She's recorded a lot of songs over the years, and so everybody, I have to give you from where in used to be her brother's room, because there's only 2 rooms in the house, but he was nice enough to let us have his room for right now, because we're supposed to be building a tiny house in the backyard. And if you wait just a minute, I'll go outside and show you guys that, and show you some of our plans. And we came out here planning to do a lot of gardening, a lot of growing on the land, because this is her family's land, you know, and we don't have to leave. Nobody's gonna take it from us. She started so many gardens over the past few years at rental properties, and then had to leave, and all of her work, you know, just going down the drain. And so it's really nice to be somewhere where it's more permanent, and we don't have to leave, and we can keep staying here and growing and working on the land and keep seeing the fruits of our labor. So when I first came out here, I wanted to try to start doing the tiny house, but she told me that in the past, when she's moved to different states and left her instruments behind with an intention of getting them back, other times she waited too long and she didn't make it her first priority, and then she lost her instruments. Okay, she has a keyboard, 2 cellos, and an accordion at her friend's house in California. We need about $400 to $500 to get them back, and I've been saving up for that, and we have about $100 saved up so far. So we really appreciate anyone who supports her getting her instruments back, because until we do that, we cannot save up for anything else. That's the #1 priority right now. After we do that, we're either going to start saving up for a car or for the materials for the tiny house. I don't know yet. We still have to think about it, because a car would help us a lot, because we live in the country about 2 hours walking away from town, and nobody here has a car. Her brother has a moped, but it's actually not his moped, and he's supposed to only use it to go to work. So it's very hard to get around or to do anything. And her father knows a lot of construction and other types of work. He knows a lot about handyman work. And if we had a car, he says he could find jobs, you know, painting jobs, you know, siding jobs, just any kind of easy jobs around, or handyman stuff. And we'd be able to, you know, find jobs and work more for our money. But being stuck in the country 2 hours walking away from town makes it really hard right now. So we really appreciate anyone who supports us. And you know, I'm gonna go outside right now to show you guys a little bit of the land, the tiny house, and a little bit of the plants she's been planting, and some of our plans and everything. So before I do that, I just want to say, when we came out here, we didn't know if we were gonna be staying in here, because we knew her brother had 1 room and her dad and her dad's girlfriend had another. And we were thinking that we might just be in a tent at first until we built our tiny house. But her brother's been really nice, letting us have his room while he sleeps in the living room and has all his stuff in there. But this house is not big enough for all of us. So we really want to start working on our tiny house soon, so we can have our own private space. And we're going to go outside right now and show you guys it. Okay, just keep it focused on me.
Okay.
Okay, so I showed this in my live stream a few times. There's a few different plans, you know, but the bottom of it, they were saying this space already could be made into a root cellar or a greenhouse. And then they were talking about raising the roof up. Okay. Yeah, I'm not going inside. I'll step it. Okay. There's a lot of fleet. Okay. Hello, I'm making this video addressing Level Up creators' video about me and the lies they've actually perpetuated about me. I want to get into the lies they put in their comments on their video about me and replies to some of the comments on the video before I go into the actual logical like talking about different points she made in her actual video. But I want to address the lies she said about me in her comments first. The first one I saw was where she says, "Oh, this guy's just staying homeless on purpose because it's easy to suck money out of people to pay for his lifestyle." That's that idea itself is so ludicrous because I was paying over $2,000 a month to stay in those hotels I was staying at. As soon as I was offered a place to rent, I took it. Okay, and I told all my followers how happy I was that finally I have a place to live. And because $90 a day, it's actually more than $2,000 I was spending. Close to $3,000 a month. And now, whenever I found a place to rent for $400 a month, a room for rent, I still get the same amount of support. Because I've seen this video about this other streamer who talked about it. No matter what, if you're a streamer, people are gonna donate to you. That's basically how this career path works. When you stream multiple hours a day, regardless of what you're doing, people like to watch people. It's a form of entertainment, and regardless of the reasoning behind it, people are gonna donate. That's a simple fact, no matter what your content is about. Okay, so the more people you have watching you,
obviously the more you'll get. A lot of people watch me. Regardless of you can sit here and claim that it was because I was homeless, but I've been not homeless now for 2 months. I still get the same amount of support, and to suggest that I was staying homeless on purpose is just it's to me, I understand what it is. You're trying to sensationalize things because you want more people to interact with your channel. I understand that. And I understand that's exactly why you said the second lie about me in your comments, that I got arrested. I mean, when I looked at it, I thought maybe she's clever and she worded it this way so she could have plausible deniability. So if I addressed her about why did you say I got arrested, she could say, oh no, I just meant that you had been arrested previously in your life. Because yeah, I have been arrested like years ago, but I have not been arrested in years. She comments back to what somebody replying to a video talking about, oh, update, he got arrested. It's not directly related to his situation, but it has to do with substances or whatever. But I think we can see and agree that, oh, this social media changes people or something. And it's crazy. I know she's just trying to sensationalize it so more people will watch her next video or whatever, but she's wrong in every sense. I was not recently arrested. I think my social media has actually made me a better person. You know, I actually give a lot to people, and you know, that's just a few things I wanted to address. I believe there's more, because I was shocked because when I watched your initial video, there wasn't too much that I felt that I could heavily criticize you for, because you tried to appear objective and you could tell the bias coming through. But, you know, I honestly, from watching the initial video, I thought you did a good job of trying your best not to insert your bias in there. But it's very obvious. And so now I'll address your actual video itself. The first thing I want to address, and this won't be, cause the next things I want to address, which are the main things, are having to do with the whole, you know, morality or philosophy or, you know, thought of the whole thing. But this one, I wanted to address something specific you said in your video. You told your viewers that if they are offended by somebody's content, they should keep reporting them. That is wrong for you to do. As somebody who presents themselves as some social media guru who's giving helpful tips on being a good creator and social media person, that is not something you should be telling your viewers, because you actually are not supposed to on any platform, YouTube, TikTok, and even when you file a report on TikTok, it makes you check a box, right? I swear to God, it makes you check a box saying, I verify all this information is true and accurate. You know, and that I'm saying that this person is violating the guidelines. So when you report somebody, you're supposed to only report if that actually does indeed violate the guidelines. The thing is, my content does not violate the guidelines. So if you are offended by that, you should not report it. So that's where you're wrong in that. Okay, so let me get on to the ideological part of it. One thing I want to say is that a lot of people are mad because beggars are being empowered. Okay. And some people would say, no, beggars deserve to sleep outside and not have enough to eat. Okay. I will, if you make a follow-up video, because you keep on telling people in your comments you're gonna make a follow-up video, and part of me thinks that you might have been waiting for me to say something first so you could reply to some statements I made. But if you watch this and you're willing to respond, I would like to know, do you agree that people who don't have a job and who don't want to work a job should have to sleep outside, or do not deserve their own house and food and shelter and water and electricity? Because I and a lot of other people who are socialists and communists believe that housing should be a human right, electricity and water should be a human right, and food should be a human right. Okay, so, you know, yes, I have gone over the top. You know what I'm saying? And it's been encouraged by my supporters. Because the haters are they were initially just so triggered that people were helping me not sleep outside. The homeless shelters were full. You understand? So unless you think that I deserve to sleep out, and at this point I was even working. I was getting a job, and then I actually worked at that job for a few months. And people were so mad that people were helping me with my food and shelter that my supporters would egg it on and say, oh, you know what, get you a big dinner tonight. And that's where, you know, the steak and lobster thing started. And we've had some fun with it because the supporters actually tell me, you know, I want to see them mad. Let them be mad. Like, fuck it. Eat your steak dinner. You know, are you going to say this guy doesn't deserve a steak and you do? Just because you work as a slave for somebody and he doesn't? So, yeah, and this also ties into my next point is that there is a market for this content, okay? Whether it's the beggar himself who's able now to have their own platform on TikTok and live stream their life and receive direct support from people who love to watch their content, or if it's a TV show about some low point in someone's life. We know, and it's more than just beggars. You know, I've talked about this in previous videos, how making fun of lower class people is actually deeply rooted in American culture, actually. And that's why, you know, I don't like and support a lot of what this country stands for. And that's why the communists, are trying to change this. You know, we want to take control of the government and change things from the top down, you know, but from the masses to the masses. But that's a whole other topic. What I'm trying to say is that this content, there's a huge entertainment market for this content of poor people, disadvantaged people, and, you know, people that have lives that make them lower class. Hoarders, you see that show, these shows about poor people who have addictions, and, you know, it's always a poor family, you know. So, and there's shows about, I know there's so many YouTube videos about beggars. So many people make so much money exploiting the fact that people want to see lower class people, and a certain percentage of people, this is why I want to bring up fetish. I believe psychologically have a fetish for watching that person suffer, and like I said, I do believe also it's deeply rooted in American culture, and it's a broader societal problem that I believe will exist as long as we have a class society, as long as we have people who are put so low by the ones who are so high. The people who even are just a little bit higher than those people who are low and are going to feel superior because they're indoctrinated to feel superior. The American ideology says that one's economic position, class position, is a reflection of their character and who they are. If they were a strong, smart, and moral individual, they would climb the ranks. That's what's presented to the minds of the people. So they look at poor people like they're less of a person. And we want to change this, but the acknowledgement that I've made is that the market is already there. So TikTok allowing beggars and homeless people and having a specific algorithm which allows for homeless people to go viral, I think is very amazing. And if you were going to respond to anything I say in this video, like the last question, I would also like you to respond to this. Don't you think that's amazing that homeless people, instead of being featured on a little documentary, getting their 15 minutes of fame, and all the Americans sitting home at the TV can say, wow, that's how they live. Nowadays, they can have their own whole platform and following and just show people their life on the streets. And that's what I did. And that's what made me go viral, because it was real. And that's what people want. There's a market for this content. The first video I went viral on, okay, I did not expect it to go viral, but it made me realize that there really is a market for this content, and the market of this content should be in the hands of the actual homeless people and disadvantaged people themselves. You know, so the first viral video I made was me showing how I'm sleeping in a gas station bathroom. Because before people were paying for my hotels, I was on the street for a long time. Okay. And I would be making TikToks, and I would make TikToks all about my ideas, my spiritual ideas, my materialist, political ideas. And I would just try to make funny videos, you know, but nobody cared about that. But as soon as I posted a video and I showed people how I took a blanket off somebody's porch and then walked over to a gas station where the bathroom was open all night, and they had 2 bathrooms. So I went to the furthest bathroom. I went in there, locked the door, and showed them how I took these paper towels to make a little bed for myself and used my backpack as a pillow. That video went viral and got over 300,000 views. Okay. And I didn't expect that, but it made me realize. So I started showing people more of my life on the streets, and my live started getting a lot more viewers. So I'm going into this more fully because I would like anyone who's homeless or struggling to see my example and to use the same tactic to try to gain a following. Show your situation. Let people be aware, because there is a market for this content. Okay, so yeah, and then after and it wasn't even my suggestion. That's the thing that's crazy to me is on social media. It's not usually the idea of the influencer. It is my thought at the moment, because this was never my idea in the first place. I had no idea that me posting this video of me being homeless was gonna go viral. I had no idea people were gonna pay for my hotels every day. I was homeless outside on the street, right? People started asking me, "Can I send you money to get you in a hotel so you don't have to sleep outside tonight?" That's a beautiful thing. Okay. And people, it's bittersweet, because it's so beautiful that I never mentioned that. Okay. And somebody suggested it to me, and I said, okay, that, you know, if you guys want to send money for the hotel, go ahead. I would appreciate it. And, then I was like, I'm already in the hotel and I don't want to go sleep outside tomorrow. So now I'm just going to start asking every day. And so it became this whole thing where people think that I just randomly started coming on here demanding money to stay in hotels like I'm entitled to something. I'm like, no, I just showed people my real life. And then people said, you know what? I want to see you in a better position, and I have some money to help you do that. And they suggested it to me, and I accepted because I was willing to receive. You know, and I think that's part of humility, being willing to receive. But regardless, yeah, I think I've explained a lot of this video. I don't want to drag it out too much longer without having any more clear points I want to bring up. But yeah, I'm looking. If you do make a follow-up video, I would like you to address the things I've talked about here, especially the lies that I talked about in the beginning, because that was kind of, because like I said, when you just watched the original video you made, I was a little bit impressed on how much you were able to try to hide your bias, even though it was plainly there. You know, the bias was plainly there for everyone to see. But I appreciate you trying to be as objective as your mind allowed you to be. So yeah, thank you anyone who's watched this video.
I was raised as a Catholic, but I wouldn't really describe myself as religious today. I had never heard of things like megachurches or televangelism or the prosperity gospel. That was until I stumbled across an infamous interview.
How are you, sir? We'd just like to ask you about why you don't want to fly commercial.
You've got this journalist that is confronting this guy called Kenneth Copeland.
You said that you don't like to fly commercial because you don't want to get into a tube with a bunch of demons. Do you really believe that human beings are demons?
No, I do not. And don't you ever say I did.
Get in a long tube with a bunch of demons.
We wrestle not with flesh and blood, but principalities and powers.
Copeland is being confronted about his purchase of a Gulfstream jet. And it turns out that that jet is just one of a fleet of jets that he owns, along with a boathouse, a mansion, and his very own airport. This is a preacher that is supposedly worth hundreds of millions of dollars, with an enormous following. And you're telling me that he is just one of many. This entire thing is a rabbit hole.
Pastor what is now the largest church in America, weekly sermon watched by more than 10 million viewers on television.
The apostles were businessmen. They were rich men, had plenty of money. I'm going to show you that Jesus was a wealthy man, had plenty of money.
One of my chandeliers costs more than most people's house. I got 22 chandeliers in the house.
They're extremely greedy. They don't need mansions. They don't need jets.
God told me to have that plane.
Any religious leader who speaks the word of God, who has more than one suit, while someone has no clothes, is a cop-out.
Yeah, you know, Larry, I just don't see it that way.
For $54 million, I want you to imagine how many people could be fed.
Well,
how many homeless could have places to sleep.
The fresh breath of all. Fresh. Are you hearing me?
Televangelism is still thriving in this country. If you were willing to pay the price, you could talk directly to God.
When I remember my own personal experiences inside of a church, what comes to mind was definitely not this.
Hey, everybody, give away everything you have and take all of me.
At times, it's like a concert, and when the preachers come to preach, it's like a celebrity has just taken to the stage. Everyone is worshipping together, they're smiling, they're joined in their faith and devotion. What we're witnessing is something called a megachurch. By definition, a megachurch is just a church that has a larger than average congregation, normally of 2,000 members or above. But when we think of spirituality or forms of it, there's normally a distinction between spiritual duty and materialistic desires. Now, I'm not a theologian and I'm not going to pretend to be one, but even I remember verses from the Bible when it came to wealth and building riches that it wasn't viewed favorably upon. But if my memory is correct, then what was I witnessing in this interview with Copeland? And moreover, some of these preachers. So you've got this preacher, Kenneth Copeland, who founded the Kenneth Copeland Ministries along with his wife, Gloria. They own a $7 million home, a fleet of jets, and their Eagle Mountain International Church has a membership in the thousands, not to mention their television and online broadcasting. Then there's Jesse Duplantis, who sat with Copeland as they both justified their purchases of private jets.
And then the second one I purchased was in January 2004.
Benny Hinn, who claims to be able to perform miracles, who fills up stadiums and broadcasts it on networks worldwide.
I'll release it.
Joel Osteen, a very popular figure, especially in Houston, Texas, where his church resides, who's authored books that have been on New York Times bestsellers, as well as hosting church services with celebrities like Kanye West. Creflo Dollar, who has created fundraisers for his private jets, whose ministry owns 2 Rolls Royces and expensive real estate to boot.
God is the gateway to the world of wealth.
There's this Instagram page which is called Preachers and Sneakers, and it's literally just preachers next to the cost of the clothing that they are wearing. Something just isn't right. I keep asking myself how, right? How is it possible to be this braggadocious about your wealth as a preacher and have your followers who not only are okay with it, but help to fund it? And that was when I found out about the prosperity gospel. What we're looking at is a movement that has seemingly found its way inside of America's biggest megachurches and being taught by its biggest preachers. The Word of Faith movement is its name, and its teachings are often referred to as the prosperity gospel. It's a simple idea. God wants you to be prosperous through your finances, your health, your marriage, and relationships. In fact, those are things that belong to you through your faith, if you are willing to receive it. The prosperity gospel often refers to its believers as little gods. The idea being that we were made in the image of God and therefore possess a level of divinity within us that allows us to bring into existence the prosperity that we've been promised.
You are God's, little g. You are God's because you came from God.
And your DNA and Jesus' DNA are exact. You're exactly like it. You know?
It sounds amazing. So how do I earn this prosperity? How do I access this divine power that I supposedly have? Well, it starts with your faith.
But if you'll stay in faith, there will come a point where God will say, enough is enough. It's payback time.
The Bible says, I know you love the Lord. So you qualify for prosperity.
Next, you have the act of tithing. The initial concept of tithing was this idea that you give 1/10 of your wealth in some way, shape, or form to a religious organization. Most houses of worship are going to rely on the donation of their congregation in order to continue their operations, especially megachurches. It is kind of like giving to a charity. But tithing, through the teachings of the prosperity gospel, introduces a, should we call it a plot twist?
Tithing lays the foundation for financial success and abundance.
Tithing is the way for recession or depression to bypass you.
Here, Stephanie from Maryland writes, I sent in my first fruits offering. 2 weeks later, I received, watch this, $2,400.
So now it isn't just about donating your money to a church. It becomes a case where you're exchanging your money in return for actual prosperity. You'll often hear some of these prosperity preachers refer to it as sowing your seed. The implication is pretty obvious to anyone who is watching. No, you give us some of your money and in return that value will be given back to you in some way, shape or form. It's the harvest.
I want you to go to the phone or online and sow a seed. Now remember,
somebody's son is going to be set free from alcohol because of your $1,000 seed.
And I'm going to ask you to sow an exceptional and uncommon seed of $1,000.
So click on that donation button to sow $1,144.
So God is giving you the harvest, and the harvest of the seed you've sown. You can't expect a harvest if you don't sow seed, spiritual, physical, or financial.
It's surreal, and it generates a lot of money. On January the 12th of 2008, Kenneth Copeland Ministries took possession of a Gulfstream jet, which was funded all thanks to the donors of his church. In fact, KCM wrote a blog post thanking their followers for helping them, quote, harvest the Gulfstream. But our work is not done. To which the blog then proceeds to remind their followers that they still need $17 million more, which will be used for the quote, sowing towards the construction of a new hangar, upgrading the existing runway, and purchasing special Gulfstream maintenance equipment. Or how about Creflo Dollar's infamous sermon to which he tells his congregation to help him fundraise towards a private jet, all to the response of cheers and applause from the audience.
If I want to believe God for a $65 million plane, you cannot stop me. You cannot stop me from dreaming.
See, Copeland and Dollar's pleas for money, they're not met with criticism and backlash from their congregation. It's celebrated. And prosperity preachers will obviously say that this aids in their quest to spread their message across to different countries.
If I flew commercial, I'd have to stop 65% of what I'm doing.
Conveniently, that message obviously allows them to make even more in donations. But these preachers, they don't just live lavish, right? They put it on full display.
You think Jesus Christ would roll around in a Rolls Royce?
I think he would. Let's get a close-up of Gloria's ring.
Where am I looking? Right here.
You fly in a private plane.
Yes, I do.
You're staying right now in one of the fanciest hotels in New York City.
Yes, I am.
You wear very nice clothing. So
the wealth of these preachers, they're not seen as gross or hypocritical. In fact, they're seen as proof that the teachings work. It's seen as them actually practicing what they preach. The extravagant lifestyle, that's not a mistake or a flaw. It's a feature of the prosperity gospel. Many of these preachers will say that the funds that they received are used only for ministry purposes. Osteen, for example, says that he doesn't receive any salary from his ministry and all the money he makes comes from his book sales. Look, in some ways, I don't really care if a ministry wants to buy a private jet. It looks optically hypocritical, but I'd rather let theologians argue over the contradictions that those actions have with actual religious texts. I'm more interested in how the money is generated, and it doesn't get more unethical of a promise than it does with the prosperity gospel.
If you're accustomed of giving $10, go to 20. Go up to 70, 80, 100. Raise that amount and watch what God will do, because
don't you stop sowing offerings. Well, they won't let us go to church. Well, email it in there, text and give or something. You get that tithe in that church, you get that offering in that church, and then you go home and you do what we're supposed to do.
This idea is no different than the law of attraction and manifestation circles that claim that you can use your mind to manifest any desire that you want. In fact, it's been argued that the prosperity theology does have similar roots to the New Thought philosophy that became popular in America in the 19th century. When I look at Osteen, for example, I don't necessarily see a preacher. I see someone who's more akin to a self-help motivational speaker that uses God as a proxy.
I am confident. I am secure. I am talented.
Take a look, for example, at Osteen's New York Times bestseller book, Your Best Life Now, which is filled with all of these kinds of ideas. So here's a quote from the very first chapter, Enlarging Your Vision. It's not God's lack of resources or your lack of talent that prevents you from prospering. Your own wrong thinking can keep you from God's best. And the book is riddled with these similar messages of becoming what you believe and the power of your words. It's a book like many others in the self-help genre. The connection isn't really that hard to see. But it's this sowing your seed message in the prosperity theology, the idea that you can donate to a church and in return you can, pay off your rent, pay off your credit card, that seems particularly stomach churning. And now this is a message that is being exported from America to Europe and Africa. So one of Nigeria's wealthiest pastors is this guy called David Oyedepo, who is said to be worth $150 million.
We are not asking you to give so the church can be blessed. We're asking you to give so you can be blessed. Some fellow said, okay, I was worth $150 million. I said, that's an insult. $150 million, that's an insult. $150 million, too small, that can be.
Do they know what they're doing? A big part of me believes that Copeland and Dollar, they truly believe their intentions are good. Even for hundreds of millions of dollars, I can't imagine someone knowingly deceive and hurt other people without just driving themselves insane in the long run. That type of cognitive dissonance just seems too much to bear. But at the end of the day, I'm never gonna know what their intentions are. I can only ever see what the consequences of their actions are. And trust me, you haven't seen the worst of it yet. Benny Hinn. Hinn is probably most well known for what he calls his miracle crusades. Hinn claims to be able to perform miracles. He'll bring people to the stage with all sorts of illnesses, and then with the touch of his hand, they will feel God's power running through them as they fall back, and these catchers will catch them as they fall.
You had Parkinson's for 15 years. He says, oh, thanks for the anointing. Who are you?
People in the audience will cheer. There are others who are stood there in awe with their hands raised in worship. And Benny Hinn isn't the only one that does this, right? This is a really common practice amongst the prosperity gospel circles.
Glory to God. You're not bound to this chair. The day will come, you'll walk out of it. In the name of Jesus.
What is it that we're really seeing here? Is this an actual miracle?
I would know that there were certain things that were completely deceptive.
Costi Hinn is the nephew of Benny Hinn, and he's worked with his family, sometimes as a catcher himself. In 2017, Costi Hinn came forward with a testimony of his time spent in Benny Hinn's ministry.
The responsibility is to look really good, look really blessed, sell the narrative, make all the money, and say, look at my life. If you give to this, if you follow it, if you obey it, and if you do what I say, God will do it for you too.
He described the lifestyle that he had whilst working with his family. We lived in a 10,000 square foot mansion guarded by a private gate, drove 2 Mercedes-Benz vehicles, vacationed in a...
Out of it. Jesus. In the name of Jesus.
What is it that we're really seeing here? Is this an actual miracle?
So you... Goodbye. What do you mean goodbye?
I would know that there were certain things that were completely deceptive.
Costi Hinn is the nephew of